Lately I've been hearing so many really inventive uses of reverb, particularly in the hip-hop world. Cats like Jay and Mike and Fabian and a slew of younger guys are coming along and really doing some cool things. So I was working on this song, Hole in Our Hearts, by an artist named Messi, Eric Capone. And I wanted to give it a unique reverb. I didn't want to copy what I've already heard, although I'm not against doing that, but I didn't need to at this point in time. And so I wanted to get something unique, and this is what I came up with. I kept trying different reverbs. I've got 7 reverbs here, and I kept trying different ones, and then I was like, man, what would it sound like if I just used them all? And this is what it sounded like. So in context, let me give you the context. Take a good hard look at yourself. You got a pile of sun. It just really gives it a vibe. This is without it. Smoke out your mouth. Take a good hard look at yourself. You got a pile of sun. With it. Smoke out your mouth. But Dave, do you really need 7 reverbs? Well, no. But if you got 7 reverbs, might as well use them, right? Reduce my carbon footprint. I'm going to go through one of these. I'm going to go through each of these one at a time, and because one of the reasons I titled it 7 Hip Hop Reverbs is because they work by themselves. So here's the first one. Smoke out your mouth. Smoke out your mouth. Second one. Smoke out your mouth. 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 All right. Now you heard each one. I'm gonna run through this really quick. This is this one, just the Echo Sun. Pretty amazing. Then the second one, the Fab Filter one. H delay, one of my favorites. Pro R reverb. And Vintage Valhalla, 3 reverbs. So the way I combine them is pretty cool. Now, this one I didn't want a lot of the high frequency information coming through. I wanted the dark information to come through. So there's this guy again. So that's when we used it there, and that's what the settings for there. And then that's going into Mangle Verb. If you don't have this, it's really, really useful. I find I'm using it a lot. It's not a traditional sounding reverb, but boy does it sound good. It's based on a guitar pedal that Eventide made. Now, on this one, this is Echo Boy. We're all familiar with that. And I wanted this one to have more dynamic, so you can see how much I've raised the MV2. That gives us a little more upward compression. And then feeds into our old pal Deverb, Q2, and Futzbox. Futzbox is, can't beat it. You need to master this plugin. It's really useful. Then on this one, we're compressing with a Renaissance compressor, probably the Swiss Army knife stranded on an island, and you can only have one plug-in to compress with. It would be this one. And then Alta Verb, And this is a cool setting, the EMT 140, one of my favorite emulations of a 140 plate. And then in the H delay again, Pro Q3. Now this one, our old buddy, the EMT 250, one of the original Reverbs, if not the original Reverb, Q3, just using the top stuff, and a little bit of color out of the Sans amp. I like to call this the Chad Blake plugin. This reverb is kind of underutilized. Took me a second to really kind of get the full usage out of it, but it's worth spending the time with. I highly recommend H-Verb by Waves. And then I'm sending that into this. I'm going to turn around and talk to my assistants, Nico and Jaime. Was that the free one?
No.
Oh, Ubermod's the free one. Okay, this is very affordable though. And this is a great preset for adding to the tails of reverbs to kind of get a little bit of movement. In the early days of digital reverbs, they were actually a bunch of tight space delays. In order to convert it to a reverb, they would modulate it and smear it so that it sounded like one continuous sound. But really, up until some of the more modern reverbs, that was the way a reverb was constructed. It wasn't actually an emulation of anything. It was just real tight space delays, and the modulation kind of tricked your ear from hearing a lot of those. So it's a sound we've grown to love, and just like guitar sounds and everything. You know, the first ones that come along tend to be what we always use as the benchmark for what sounds good, and this can help you. So copy that one. Very affordable. And then this is a plugin that not a lot of you guys know. It's by Cush Audio. And Greg over there came up with this. He was traveling around and he ran across a gold foil plate, and he thought it really sounded great. So this is his take on it. And if you know Greg, you can see why there's a lot more knobs than just the knobs on a gold foil plate. But I love this. It's got so many controls, and it can just make a mix come alive. So. That's what we got. Check it out. I know I went kind of fast, but you know, you can always stop it and copy it, take screenshots and stuff. And there you go. 7 really cool reverbs, I hope. We'll see you.